the rookies who come in, it's been a whirlwind for them lately. You know, their season ends, they might go to a bowl game, then they've got to get ready for the draft. There's combines and all these other things that they go through. Then they get drafted, then they come to rookie camps, and now they got OTAs for the very first time. Take us back to what that's like for a rookie coming into OTAs, let alone a vet who knows the ways of the road ahead and, you know, the pitfalls they want to try to navigate around. What's it like for a rookie?
I mean, you have the different forms of rookies, right? You have the high pick rookies, you have the mid to late pick rookies, then you have the undrafted rookies. And so everybody's journey and path and vision of this thing is different. But you're still a rookie. And so, like you said, it's a whirlwind. You're going from, like you said, the end of your season through the off-season stuff, for your training, your combines, your all-star games, the anxiety of getting drafted, not getting drafted, the being back at home when you've been in college and now you move into a new city, you know, partaking upon this journey. It's a lot going on. And now you get to get on the football field and get to play. And now you're having to learn new languages, new plays, new systems, new ways of doing things. And you know, when you come out to OTAs, it's a lot. You're out there, you're practicing with the veterans and the guys that you've been watching on TV and that you've admired, and now you're out here with them. And so it's a lot going on for rookies. I mean, my rookie year, you know, I got lucky. I had a coach, Gary Kubiak. So we didn't have like a rookie mini camp like once we got drafted. You know, most teams, you know, they draft the players and then a couple of days back then it was like the same weekend almost. Mm-hmm. But now I think a couple of weeks later they have like rookie mini camps and they get the rookies in and do all that stuff. And we didn't have that. You know, what we did, we got drafted, and then when we came out straight to OTAs. And Coach Kubiak, his whole thing was, you know, he didn't want to fly a bunch of rookies in and have everybody out there practicing and this and this and that, not knowing how to practice, not knowing what to do. You got guys out there trying to prove themselves and getting people hurt and all this stuff. He's like, so he didn't want us to go through rookie mini camp at that time. He wanted us to go to OTAs so we can learn the system, learn how to practice when you're out there with the vets. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, when you had mandatory mini camp, that's when we kind of had the rookie mini camp, and he didn't make the veterans go through the mandatory mini camp, but you can include like the second year players, the third year, some of your backup guys that needed more reps. They could be at the mini camp, but your starters, you know what I'm saying, your guys, they didn't do the mandatory mini camp at the end. But now your rookies, they've had, you know, 3 weeks of practicing with the vets. They've went through install. They've learned the system. And so now at this mandatory mini camp at the end, now we can really evaluate and see what these guys know, what they don't know, because they've had time to settle in, right? And, you know, and come out here and show, as opposed to they just got drafted, everything's going on. Now I expect them to come out here and show their best.
Right.
We didn't do that. So it's a lot going on. And you know, they got drafted, you know, over a month ago, or right at a month ago. So things are kind of settling down a little bit in that regard. But coming into OTAs and being around the vets and seeing the speed of the game, and you know, the speed is probably 3/4 right now for a lot of the veteran guys. It'll definitely ratchet up and pick up by the time they get to training camp and get into season. But it's still just a good pace and good feel for the young guys, the rookies. And you get, you know, when you have good coaches and you have good veterans, those guys will get out there and give you, you know what I'm saying, a few good reps here or there, you know, good. They understand, hey, if we got a period of 15 plays, you know, we get 4 plays at the beginning. That's all we get. So we go out and you go hard for those 4 plays. And the difference in a rookie and a vet when it comes to practicing is really the repeats.
Okay.
Drill work is really the repeats. You know, veterans, they're going to come out. They know exactly how to do it. They know the pace. They know the footwork. They know the hand placements. They know all those things. So they're able to come in and get it done one time and they're moving on, right? A lot of times, the rookies have to learn the pace. They have to learn the drill work. They have to learn all those things. So now when they come up there, they may do it wrong. And so now the coach make them repeat it. And then they may have to do it again. And this time they didn't touch the line and they got to do it again. And this time they wasn't in the right stance at the beginning. So they got to do it again. And so they end up repeating the same drill 3 or 4 times, and then the vet get up there and they lock right in. They do it one time and you're done, right? So that's the biggest difference. So that's what you're seeing right now at OTAs, and some of it is the coaches having to, they be nitpicky with rookies because you got to,
you got to set a standard, right? They got to set a standard.
Yeah. We're doing things a certain way. So, but it's good. I mean, I'm sure those guys are excited. They're out there. And they're getting to live a dream, playing in the NFL, practicing, being in the facility, being around players. Their phones are probably still going off every day. People want to know, man, what's it like being around this guy and all this and that. So it's such a cool thing, man, for sure.
So the rookies have one way of going about it. The coaches obviously want to coach them up, and then you've got a veteran like Aiden coming off a serious injury. How much will he participate in these kinds of things? How much will he push himself? There's still a few more months till the season starts. Where's he at, and how will he handle the OTAs?
Right now in OTAs, I mean, if I was Aiden, if I was the coach and handling it, he probably would be going through probably just the individual drills. He probably wouldn't be doing any competition stuff with other people. He probably wouldn't be out there in the team drills and things like that, where anything where he can just kind of get tangled up with somebody. But he'll probably be going through the individual drills and just kind of moving, getting back out there, participating in the walkthrough sessions or the jog through sessions and things like that from a team standpoint. But at the end, or when you have like these competition periods where they're going at it, I'm sure he won't be out there right now. If anything, I would say he'll probably get out there in mini camp. But a guy like Aiden, I probably wouldn't make him get back out there until training camp. There's no point in him getting out there now with no pads on and you practicing with a lot of guys, and there's no point in just getting back out there. But I'm pretty sure, in individual he's going, getting a feel for it, ratcheting it up a little bit, because you can go through these workouts with your trainers and all these guys, but it's just different when you get out there with your other teammates and it's just like you go a little harder for some reason. It's a little more intensity in your movements and things like that. And so I'm pretty sure, getting out there with his teammates, going through the bags, going through it at a practice tempo, going back to back and things like that, it gets sore, I'm sure. So I'm pretty sure he's working back slowly, doing individual stuff. I don't think he's going to participate in team drills in the OTA periods.
What's the most serious injury you had to overcome? And just talk about the mental aspect of it. You're okay physically, but really the mind plays tricks on you. What do you go through to make sure you're 100%? And what's that process with you?
I had a couple serious injuries. But probably the biggest one that I had from a defensive back standpoint was when I first got to Detroit. Week 4, I tore up my ankle. I had a grade 3 tear in one of the outside ligaments in my ankle. I had a grade 2 tear on the inside ligament of my ankles. Then I had torn cartilage in the front of my ankle. It was just an awful ankle injury, but I didn't miss any games. But yeah, it was the craziest thing. I didn't miss any games. I don't know how. Well, I do know how, but it was crazy. The way I didn't miss any games, honestly, it was treatment like none other.
Yeah.
But I did it in week 4. We was playing Chicago at home, and that's when I did it. And week 5, we were playing Green Bay. And as a kid, I always wanted to play in Lambeau Field. And this was my first opportunity going to Lambeau Field. And so I was like, I got to play. And so I was just treatment. My ankle probably was like, it was freaking huge. But I was able to get through the season. and I ended up having ankle surgery at the end of the season. And so then when we come back to OTAs, we had got a new coach. That's when Coach Jim Caldwell had came in. We got new DB coaches and all these things. And Coach Jim Caldwell I did not participate in the OTAs. I didn't practice one time. I would have to do some conditioning stuff with the trainers and things like that, but I didn't go through practices. I didn't go through mini camp. And, my DB coach just used to, he used to always ask me, are you as good as they say you are? And I used to just be like, and I would literally say, I mean, hey man, you just gotta wait and see.
Some bulletin board material for your own mind, right there.
Yeah, but I didn't go through any of the OTA practices, any of the mini camp practices. I was there, but I didn't participate. They just wanted me to get my ankle all the way back right, and so I could be the player that I guess they had told them that I was. And so I got through the whole off season. I trained, showed up to training camp. Started back participating in training camp, had a good training camp, and I went out in 2014 and led the league in interceptions. And I guess I showed them that I was as good as they said I was.
You are that guy. Along those lines, what does Kirby Joseph have to prove to anybody with the deal that he signed, the highest paid back in the history of the league right now, with that deal he signed? You sign a deal like that, you come to OTAs, training camp, these things unfold. What's in the back of a guy's mind like that after signing a deal like that and being questioned, or if you are questioned, like, what do you have to prove? Similar to what you were thinking, like, what do you have to prove?
For me, I always found ways to put a chip on my shoulder, regardless of what it was. When I got paid, to me, it was about showing that I deserved to get what I had got. So you always got to find like little things to keep you going. And I remember when I was in Houston and we had drafted JJ Watt, and going into my last year in Houston, we had drafted JJ Watt going into my third year, and we made the playoffs. JJ Watt had a great rookie year, yada, yada, yada. So I remember going to training camp. This would have been my fourth year, JJ's second year. And I remember walking on the training camp, the field, the first day, and I told JJ, I said, the hardest thing to do in the NFL is to do it again. It's the hardest thing to do. I said, you had a great rookie year. The hardest thing to do is to do it again. And so that's the thing that you want to see from great players. You came out, Kirby, you had a great year. Led the league in interceptions, caught 9 of them, balled out, got to come back and do it again. It's like bowling. You don't want to throw a strike and then backdoor it with 2 gutter balls. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to hit a strike and then come back with another strike, or at least a spare, and then like you want to just try to keep stacking them. And that's kind of how you want to look at it. So you had a great year. You want to come back and be the hardest working guy on the practice field, in the classroom. You want to be that guy because you don't want, like, I never wanted anybody to question why I got what I got, why I was given the opportunities that I was given. I never wanted anybody to question that. So it was never a situation where somebody felt like they were outworking me, that they were better than me in the meeting rooms, that they were like, there was never, like, I never wanted that to happen. I was on time. I was early. I was going to do all the things because I wanted to show that this is why I got what I got and why I get what I get. And so that's what I would say to Kirby, man. You got to go out and do it again. Now, do you have to lead the league in picks again? No. Do you have to have 9 again? No. But like I said, you don't want to follow up a great year with a dud. And I would say it's not always about interceptions. It's about impact of the game. you have to find more ways to impact the game, because he caught a lot of interceptions, don't get me wrong. But when he had games where he didn't catch interceptions, you didn't really feel him impact the game. You see what I'm saying? And so you don't have to catch 9. You can catch. I remember 2017, I only had 3 interceptions that year, but I was responsible for like 8, 9 turnovers. You know, we played Minnesota. I punched a ball out at the end of the game to seal the game against Adam Thielen in Minnesota. We play against, Atlanta. You catch a big pick 6, and, you play in some of these games and you find different ways to impact the game, forcing a fumble here, there, getting a big sack in the moment, getting a big, like, those are the ways that you can impact the game without just catching interceptions all the time. Because if you're a great interceptioner, sometimes they're going to get to where they don't throw it back there to give you a lot of those opportunities to make those plays. And so you have to find other ways to make plays. And so that would be my challenge to him this offseason, is to work on different ways at practice to impact the game more. You know what I'm saying? Find more ways to get the ball, punch the ball out, try to punch out a ball every day in practice, try to punch one out so that it just carries over into the game.
So, I want to go back to one of the things that you said during that, and that was one of the hardest things is doing it all over again. This club went 15-2 last year. Doing it again. I know they're returning 80% of their roster from last year. Only 3 teams are returning more players. That's going to help. The continuity is going to help, but they've got some coordinators that are going to run new systems and have some new ideas, a couple of new players coming in. How do you back it up? What's the key to backing it up as we start OTAs and looking forward?
I mean, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? If you go back 2 years ago, they was in the NFC Championship game, right? And so, like I say, the hardest thing is to do it again. You come back a year later, you getting bounced. First playoff game, and you were the 1 seed, right? Mm-hmm. So it's tough. This year you got a new year, you got new coordinators, got a lot of players coming back, but it's going to be, how quickly can they pick up the system? How, defensively you would assume that it's going to be somewhat similar since, Kevin was there with Aaron Glenn. So you would assume that his system is going to be, the language is going to be somewhat the same. So that's probably not going to be as big of a learning curve. And hopefully offensively it's the same way, to where the guys can pick up, because in this league, that's when teams are at their best. When the offenses and the defenses, they know everything so well that they can read each other's body language. They just understand what they're doing, and you can play better, you can play faster. And that just comes from a level of knowing everything about the system inside and out. And you get that when you've had the same coordinators for 2, 3, 4 years, and you've had multiple off seasons and training camps and seasons to dive deeper into that playbook. And so now you have new guys. It's going to be how quickly can they get on the same page and learn each other and understand each other, to where the coaches understand their players, the players understand the coaches, they understand what they want to do, they're thinking as one. They get to that point, they could go back, but it's tough. The North is tough. Chicago got better. Mm-hmm. Minnesota, JJ McCarthy was off to a great start. He's going to be back. Green Bay has been there. Like it's tough. And so for them to get back there, they're going to put in a lot of work this offseason, get healthy, get Aiden healthy. Mm-hmm. And every year you got to start over and do it again, man.
And the work starts now with OTAs. You know what? My work's going to start now, too. I'm inspired by you. I can go downstairs, hit my little downstairs gym, get some burpees in. I don't know if I'll do 50 of them all together, let alone in a row, but I'll bang out some push-ups, too, and get a little cardio in. And I'll be inspired by you the entire way, man. I hope you hit the gym today, too, and have yourself a good one, brother.
Oh, yeah, man. I appreciate it. Get it in.
Glover Quin, Trevor Thompson, Believe in Lions. We'll be back with you again soon.